Welcome to Fred's 10-minute marketing courses. Today we are discussing Let's Talk About Mac Neo, written by Fred Jamney.
And, before we even get into the actual design of this hypothetical machine, we really have to talk about the total rebellion happening in the tech world right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild.
Right. People are literally digging 5-year-old laptops out of their closets just to run open source AI models like OpenClaw. They're just flat out refusing to buy into this relentless hardware upgrade cycle.
It really is a fascinating psychological phenomenon. If you're listening to this right now and looking at your $2,000 laptop, you might be experiencing what we can call spec anxiety.
Spec anxiety, yes.
You walk into a store and you look at the spec sheet for a brand new top-tier computer, and it reads less like a household tool and more like the schematics for a lunar lander.
I mean, it really does.
You see these massive core counts, neural engines, terabytes of storage, and you just convince yourself you absolutely need it to future-proof your life.
Oh, definitely. The marketing makes you feel like if you don't buy the absolute maximum specs, you'll be left behind in the Stone Age.
Exactly. So you'd spend thousands of dollars, bring it home, set it on your desk, and, well, what do you actually do with it?
Type out some emails.
Right. You type emails, maybe open a spreadsheet, watch high-definition videos. It results in this massive, almost comical performance overcapacity for the modern consumer.
Yeah.
You essentially own a Ferrari, but you
only ever drive it in a school zone?
Exactly. Which is why this grassroots movement is so interesting. Consumers are actively looking for a cheaper entry point into AI, and major tech companies are noticing.
They definitely are.
So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack a brilliant conceptual machine that Fred Jamney explores. It's a hypothetical entry-level Apple desktop dubbed the Mac Neo, priced at around $399. We're going to break down how this one conceptual machine could completely disrupt the consumer electronics market.
But to truly understand why the Mac Neo is such a revolutionary concept, we first have to look backward, We need to look at why similar ideas failed so spectacularly in the past.
You're talking about the old thin clients.
Yeah, thin clients or network computers. If you look at the historical context of the industry, going from machines with 128K of RAM, which barely holds a text document today,
right,
to modern PC rigs that run so incredibly hot, they literally require water-cooled, factory-like pump setups just to do AI math. To combat those skyrocketing requirements, the industry kept pitching this dream of a cheap, low-spec box that sits on your desk and offloads all the heavy processing to massive cloud servers.
And, from a management perspective, the business logic behind that pitch always seemed pretty flawless. I like to view this through the lens of a kitchenless restaurant analogy.
Oh, I like that. How does that work?
So imagine a massive fast food franchise headquarters comes to you and says, we want you to open a new restaurant location, but to save you money on overhead, we aren't going to build you a kitchenless restaurant.
Which, sounds like an absolute dream for your initial capital expenditure.
Exactly. The upfront cost drops to almost zero. Headquarters tells you, don't worry, we have a massive central kitchen downtown. Every time a customer orders, we'll just deliver the food straight to your dining room.
So on a spreadsheet, it's an incredibly lean, efficient business model.
You don't pay for the stoves, you don't pay the chefs. But then you hit reality. What happens when there is a massive traffic jam?
And in the tech world, that traffic jam is network latency, or just a flat-out internet outage.
Right. Suddenly, your delivery drivers are stuck on the highway, you have a dining room full of paying customers, and you can't serve a single bowl of soup.
That is the perfect way to describe the offline reality check that destroyed the old thin client dream. The moment the connection dropped, those network computers turned into expensive paperweights.
You couldn't even type a basic document.
Right. But if we're talking about a modern Apple product, they know consumers won't tolerate that. So how does the Mac Neo avoid becoming just another kitchenless restaurant?
Well, this is where the engineering philosophy shifts. The Mac Neo won't have the massive amount of VRAM required to run large LLMs locally.
Right, because video RAM is super expensive.
Exactly. It's a massive, ultra-fast, short-term memory bank. And large language models require huge amounts of it to actually function on your desk.
So without that massive VRAM, it just can't be a standalone AI powerhouse.
Correct. But here is the crucial offline reality check. It's designed so that it can perform your usual computing tasks smoothly, even without an internet connection, and without those heavy AI agents running.
Oh, so if your Wi-Fi drops, it doesn't turn into a useless brick.
You can still work, type up reports, access your local files. It gives you that essential security and peace of mind that the old network computers completely failed to deliver.
which is a critical baseline for consumer trust. But if I can push back on this from a market perspective, that immediately raises a massive strategic question.
Go for it.
If Apple produces a cheap $399 desktop that functions smoothly for basic tasks, won't it cannibalize their own high-end product lines? I mean, they currently sell the Mac Mini M4 for $599, and there's an upcoming M5 on the horizon.
It's a very fair question.
Why would a highly profitable company take the risk of undercutting their own premium hardware? And you just know the hardcore tech geeks will scream about it.
The forums will light up.
They'll call a machine with a mobile-tier CPU and low-RAM electronic garbage on day one.
Let them laugh, honestly.
Yeah.
Because from a strategic management perspective, this is a masterclass. Apple isn't afraid of cannibalizing its own products here because this represents extreme market segmentation.
Because they aren't targeting developers.
Exactly. The target audience for a $399 Mac Neo is not the 3D animator rendering 4K video.
Yeah.
Hardcore users are still going to drop thousands of dollars on a Mac Studio without blinking. The target audience here is what we can call the AI new immigrants.
AI new immigrants. I like that framing.
It's the general public who feel entirely priced out of the AI hardware boom. This strategy isn't about fighting over the same slice of the pie. It's about drastically expanding the entire pie.
And we really need to explain the underlying technological advantage that actually makes this affordable, because building a cheap computer isn't just about using worse parts.
It's about architectural efficiency, the hardware enabler.
Right, and the enabler here is Apple's M-series unified memory architecture. This is why traditional PC makers are struggling to keep up.
Break that down for us. What makes unified memory so different?
Well, in a traditional Windows PC, the main CPU and the graphics card, the GPU, are completely separate on the motherboard. They each need their own expensive pool of memory.
So they have to constantly send data back and forth.
Exactly. If the CPU wants the graphics card to do some AI math, it has to copy the data, send it over a physical bridge, wait, and get it sent back. It's wildly inefficient.
And to run heavy AI, you have to buy a massive dedicated graphics card just to get enough memory.
Which instantly adds hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Right.
But Apple fundamentally shifted the cost structure by binding the processing core and the memory together into a single chip.
So they pull from the exact same pool instantly.
Yep. No copying, no waiting. They completely eliminate the need for those massive dedicated graphics cards. That unified architecture is the secret sauce making a $399 AI desktop physically possible.
But let's dig into the financial reality of that price tag. Hardware is still expensive to build and ship.
Hey, for sure.
If the hardware is so cheap that it squeezes Apple's profit margins to near zero, what is the actual end game here? A company of that size doesn't build a massive new product category just to break even.
No, they certainly do not.
The core insight, and this is where the business strategy becomes truly brilliant, is that the hardware is merely an entry ticket.
Like a loss leader.
Exactly. The true product being sold isn't the aluminum box. It's the Apple Intelligence and iCloud ecosystem.
Yes. This brings us to what we can basically call the AI money printer business model.
I love that term.
To understand it, you have to look at how AI actually costs money in the cloud. Processing costs are measured in computing tokens. Every time you ask a complex AI model a question, servers are burning electricity and power to generate those words.
And those tokens cost real money.
They add up so fast.
And variable costs like that create immense psychological friction. It's like riding in a taxi and watching the meter tick up at every red light.
Ugh, the worst feeling.
If you know every AI question costs you 3 cents, you hesitate, you self-censor, you think, I'll just Google it myself.
But Apple's masterstroke would be leveraging its massive capital to absorb that unpredictable variable cost of tokens. They take it, hide it, and package it into a single, fixed monthly subscription fee.
Say $20 a month.
Exactly. The moment that cost is hidden in a flat fee, the psychological barrier completely vanishes. You just feel like you have an unlimited, brilliant assistant.
It feels like an all-inclusive resort.
And it's the perfect historical parallel to the iPhone App Store, but applied to AI agents or skills. Lose money in the East
To make money in the West.
Exactly. They might sell the Mac Neo hardware at a razor-thin margin because the subscription lock-in is the actual gold mine.
So if we take this low-cost, high-retention strategy as a given, How does this play out in the real world? How does it disrupt the competitive landscape across both B2B and B2C markets?
Well, on the B2C side, we are looking at a fundamental appliance shift. AI becomes as accessible as a household appliance.
Like buying a microwave.
Literally. You could easily see a scenario where you walk into a convenience store for coffee or a telecom shop to renew your phone plan, and you just pick up a Mac Neo off the shelf. It removes all the intimidation.
That appliance shift is huge for consumers. But as a manager, the B2B implications are what really keep me up at night. Let's look at a real-world case study. The AI virtual company.
Okay, lay it on me.
Imagine a micro-entrepreneur with a brilliant idea but very little starting capital. Instead of leasing office space and hiring a team, they go out and buy 3 cheap Mac Neos.
Right.
Using this hypothetical AI app store, they download a specialized marketing agent for the first machine, a customer service agent for the second, and a strict accounting agent for the third.
Wait, hold on. I have to push back on that scenario.
Go ahead.
Earlier, we explicitly established that the Mac Neo has low VRAM and cannot run massive LLMs locally. How is a $399 machine running a strict, highly complex accounting agent without hallucinating a massive tax error?
Because the heavy lifting isn't happening on the silicon sitting on their desk. This is the brilliance of the subscription model we just talked about.
I see where you're going.
The complex reasoning, the heavy token crunching required to do strict accounting that is happening in Apple's highly secure iCloud ecosystem.
Right, the cloud handles the heavy math.
Exactly. The $399 Mac Neo is just the frictionless gateway. The hardware handles the local interface, the offline file management, while the cloud does the rest. Within an hour, for roughly $1,200, this entrepreneur instantly has 3 digital employees working 247.
No salaries, no benefits, no sick days.
It radically lowers the barrier to starting a B2B enterprise.
The micro-entrepreneurship revolution that enables is staggering. But, every revolution has casualties. And this dynamic forces a severe discussion among traditional competitors.
You're talking about traditional PC brands, Windows, Office, Adobe.
Yes, because they are entirely reliant on a fractured ecosystem.
What do you mean by fractured?
Think about how a Windows PC is built. Dell makes the monitor, Intel makes the processor, NVIDIA makes a graphics card, Microsoft makes the OS, and OpenAI provides the intelligence.
None of them are perfectly aligned.
Exactly. They don't control the hardware, they don't control the memory architecture, and they certainly don't have a unified token subscription seamlessly tied to your phone and tablet like Apple does. They're pushed into a very uncomfortable corner.
They can't offer the all-inclusive resort experience because they don't own the whole resort.
Precisely. They'll be left fighting over that shrinking pool of high-end, niche professional users while Apple effortlessly captures the vast majority of the general public.
It's a total market wipeout for anyone who can't offer a frictionless AI appliance.
It really is. Though, I do have to point out a hilarious little detail from Fred Jamney's deep dive that brings this all back down to earth.
What's that?
Despite perfectly laying out this brilliant mass-market strategy, the author admits his own biases. He confesses that he is personally still holding out and waiting for a 64-gigabyte Mac Mini or a Mac Studio M5 to be released.
That is brilliant.
It just goes to show that no matter how much you understand the business logic, hardware geeks will always be hardware geeks at heart.
You really can't fight human nature. We all love shiny, overpowered toys. But it leaves us with a lingering, provocative thought for you to chew on as you go about your day. When we look ahead at the future war between tech giants, the ultimate victor won't be the company that builds the smartest AI model. It won't be the one that boasts the highest number of computing parameters.
Because consumers don't actually care about parameters.
Exactly. The war will be won by whoever can package AI so seamlessly, so frictionlessly into our daily lives that you end up subscribing to it for the rest of your life without even realizing it. The real question is, are you ready for your first AI appliance?
Thank you for listening. If you have any thoughts on today's episode or marketing topics, feel free to leave a comment below the video. This is Fred's 10-Minute Marketing Courses. See you next time.